Basically, Blast Magazine is something new in the world of journalism. The world of journalism is going through a growing phase, a changing phase. It's not by any means dying out. I mean, there's going to be journalism in 20, 30, 100 years. There's always going to be journalism. Right now, we're at the point where the internet is no longer a happy little toy that some people have, some people take advantage of, that some journalistic entities have to explore. It's now an everyday part of everyone's daily life. And the print world tends to fear the evolution of the internet versus the devolution of the print journalism. And the internet world is afraid of or intimidated by the print world because they're still at the top of the food chain. And that's where we stand right now. Then in comes Blast, and what we're trying to do with Blast is create a hybrid that merges the two worlds. We design a magazine from scratch. We have the cover, we have the contents, the articles. When you go to a website, usually you see their homepage, their logo, and the navigation's right at the top. It's the little tabs where there's different sections or whatever, what have you. When you go to blastmagazine.com, you see a cover of a magazine. You don't see the top navigation, you don't see the usual logo advertisement headers. You see a cover, and you see teasers, you see what you would see if you picked up a newspaper or a magazine on the newsstand. And that's what we're trying to do. Well, I'm the editor. I handle all the journalism side of things, the stories, the reporters, the writers, the editors, everything else. We have Andy Whalen, who's our technical editor. He handles the website, the actual nuts and bolts that make this visually possible. We have Andrew Kahn, who is our design editor. He makes it look good. So it's a three-pronged process: the writing, the visual, and the technical. And that's what we do. Boston Harbor on Valentine's Day, as we learned, is quite cold. And we want to expand the national appeal a little bit of the magazine, where Valentine's Day by the water is a very quaint, nostalgic thought. And it was actually a fairly nice night. We caught a breeze off the water, but we wanted to get something where it wasn't a studio, it wasn't indoors, it wasn't staged as much as a photo shoot cannot be staged, and make it realistic. And we accidentally found this location in Boston's North End near the waterfront, and it just worked perfectly. And it was amazing what Aaron Bogosian was able to do with a couple lights, some lenses, a camera, and us just kind of standing there, make sure everything stays upright. And that's the amazing part is, we found this great location. We had these really attractive models. We knew what we wanted to do, where we had somebody on the other side of that camera who could make it happen. It's very easy to visualize something, very easy to conceptualize. We want this to look like this. When you get somebody like Aram who could make it happen in a short time, just setting up and making it work, that's a talent.
I'm the photographer. I'm the photo editor, and whatever John decides to make. John and I brainstorm what we're gonna shoot for the upcoming issue, and I basically take what John wants and make it visual. Photography I started about 3 years ago, and started working for local newspapers like the Boston Globe, and just kind of taught myself, really.
I'm amazingly pleased with how the photo shoot turned out. The sun had begun to go down. It was creeping down, so we didn't get that sunset. We are on the East Coast anyway, so I don't know how much of a sunset you're going to get on the water usually, but it worked out perfectly. The way the light hit them, the way the water was reflecting, it really worked out quite well. I'm extremely pleased with the results.
Kind of do things last minute in my head. I like to just go with it and just use intuition. So going into it, I knew that we were going to have two people. One was going to be significantly shorter than the other. Kat is a short girl, and I hadn't met the guy yet, but essentially I just knew that they were going to be wearing dark clothing. We were going to be outside, and one was going to be shorter than the other. So I kind of had some poses in mind going there, but as far as like lighting setup and like framing, we hadn't been to the location. We just drove until we found something near the water, which was what we were looking for. And we really lucked out. If you look at the shot, there's one of those pay, like you put a coin in it, binocular things, and right away when we saw that, we knew we found a good place. So the first shot was the one we ended up using. Like 10 clicks in with that, we looked at the back of the camera, and that was like, that's the shot that is going to go on the front. because the guy just leaning against the binoculars and the girl leaning into him was just, it was just a nice picture. So essentially going into it, I didn't really have a plan other than a couple poses, or I didn't really have a setup. I just planned to figure it out once we got there.
Well, like everything else with photography, you don't really know which shot you got, or even if you get an idea with digital if you've gotten the shot, but you don't know which one you're going to use until you get back to the studio and put it into the computer and see how it looks. We knew, Aram knew right away that he had something there.
Making the shot, well, for me right now, I think it depends on the photographer. So for me, it was, the framing wasn't a big deal. Just I think it was just trying to capture something that looked like a moment, because it's so posed, but you want to make it look like there's actually something going on, so the photo is interesting. So for me, it was the pose and the lighting. The model stayed in the car, and John and a couple others, yourself included, stood outside in the cold while we set up the lights and got everything ready before the models came out, because it was very, very cold. Mainly, I think I was focused on this shoot with the lighting, and it was very simple lighting. So just one light. It was just two lights, a main light and a kick light. Well, for John's photo shoots, I use Canon digital SLR 1D Mark II, and for lighting, I use just regular strobes, reflectors. It's relatively high quality. Yeah, the camera is certainly as good as you can get. Quality is good, especially for web resolution. The quality of the camera that I have is really good.
The first night we did just the outdoor shots of them, the cover shots, the ones you're going to see in February, and then a couple nights later we met and booked a hotel suite. Was able to actually go in there and shoot some accessories that we're featuring for Valentine's or February fashion feature, and then we were able to get them in the mood shots, and that's something that we weren't sure how it was going to come out originally. We knew we wanted to do an article about relationship moods and makeup, sex, and angry, all that good stuff. And we weren't sure how it was going to work originally. We weren't sure if we were going to be able to make two people who weren't really actors pretend.
The models matter, because if it's just somebody who just doesn't look good on film, it just won't look as good. I mean, they just have to be reasonably aesthetic people, I think, for something like this, and they have to be willing to be awkward, because a couple of the positions that we were trying, they just the way they had to lean and things like that were just, I'm sure it felt very awkward, and they just had to be willing to work with us.
Kat and Sean were really excited to be part of this. They actually Kat is the roommate of the previous cover model, Margot Cormier, and she recommended her. And they're a hot couple. I mean, they're two very attractive people. They were very willing, very camera friendly. Sean's done some modeling and acting before. Kat just has the presence in front of the camera. So they were excited to be able to be part of something new and exciting. Actually, Kat was asking me a bunch of questions in the car ride to the shoot about the magazine, about what we were doing. How they were going to be used, and they were pros. They did a great job.
Seeing as this is a second issue, I think we made pretty big strides compared to the last issue, which was just one model in front of a white screen cutout, which did the job. But I really like the atmosphere that the photos that are in this. There's a lot more photography. There was a lot more involved. It was 2 days of shooting, and they were full days. And we have a lot of shots, a lot of good shots that we won't even be able to put up even in the galleries, because there were hundreds of shots that were nice. I do enjoy what I do for Blast Magazine, because what I do for Blast Magazine is what I would like to do for a living, and it's the only thing I like doing besides sitting on the couch and watching TV.
It's different. It's something brand new, and it's working out great so far. So I think the best part about being able to lead this is that we get to really, the four of us that are in charge, really get to do what we want to do with this. And if we blow up and we become one of the mainstream magazines, it'd be a dream come true, because it means the concept of you click on the link and you get to a magazine cover. It means it worked. It's obviously a venture, and the goal, I see this taking off. I see this concept becoming something of maybe not in this form, but something of a standard in journalism. There's all this talk about cyber paper and Where's print going to be in a couple of years? As these technologies evolve, eventually you're going to get to a point where your daily newspaper, your weekly magazine is going to be virtual. It's going to be electronic.